Wow, this was pretty good. I mean, this is only the first backtest, but the equity curve looks fine. We have a very small drawdown and the profit factor is very good. The average gain is bigger than the average loss, and we have a win rate of 55%. I mean, this is unusually good to be the first backtest. It's actually so good, I almost want to edit this part out of the video and sell it. Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm going to code together with you the 3 ideas that I talked about 2 videos back. We're going to code the ideas as simple and as quick as possible and then make a backtest. And I will show you what to look for in the backtest to determine if the idea is strong and if it's viable for the next step of the development process. We're still in the first step of the algo development phase, so we're not going to build a complete system at this step. We're just going to test the ideas that we have come up with. All right, so let's get started. All right, so we don't know much about these trading ideas. Odds are that they will not be very good. I mean, most will probably be crap, and that's how it should be. If it was easy, everyone would do it, but it's not easy. You will come to test 100 ideas, and you will see that just a few of them are actually worth working on. If I could leave you with only one truth from this video, it's that you don't build strong systems by optimizing, refining, and forcing mediocre ideas. You build strong systems by having a strong idea and making only minor adjustments and optimizations to it. And that's a major difference that will make the difference in your algo trading. I can promise you, I could make the worst looking idea get a good backtest by adding filters, by adding indicators, optimizing every single variable, and that system will have a good backtest, but it will become a system that will lose you money. And I might actually do a video on that just to prove that point. Now let's look at our ideas. And if you want, you can do this together with me. The first idea, if you remember, is a very simple idea of a daily strategy that we're going to test on the DAX 40 index. We're going to make it long only. The idea is to enter trades on a specific time if the trend is positive and strong. And the trend being positive will be determined by the price being over a moving average. And the trend being strong will be determined by the trend strength indicator called ADX. We're going to close the trade the same day at 9:30. All right, so let's build that one. It was for the daily time frame. Let's call it idea number 1. And it was a long only, so we'll remove the short code here. Let's add the spread right away. Let's put it at 1 point. Right, so the first entry condition was just a specific time. Let's call that entry condition time. So the time I was thinking of was at 13:30. So this code here will make this variable true if the time is 13:30. And we only wanted to enter trades if the trend was positive, and that was determined by a moving average. I'm going to use an average of 20. I'm going to use the simple moving average. And let's call this entry condition trend positive. So what this code does here is that it will make this variable true if the average of 20 is below the close of the latest candlestick or the latest bar. And that will be determined by the ADX indicator. The default setting of ADX is 14 bars. and we will say that the value have to be bigger than 30. So what this code does here is that if the ADX indicator of 14 have a value over 30, then this variable will be true, else that variable will be false. So let's add those conditions to the code that enter trades. And let's use a stop loss as well. Let's use a standard stop loss of 1%. And we only had one exit condition, and that was that we wanted to end the trade at 9:30. Right, and let's add that condition to the code. Right, and that's it. I'm realizing now that since we have time conditions that's smaller than the time unit that we intended to use, that means that the code will not enter a single trade, since the codes are only executed at the end of every candle, and the time at the end of every candle will be at midnight if we are using the daily time frame. So we will have to use another time frame for this algo. We will have to use at least a time frame of 30 minutes or smaller. Let's try it. Wow, this was pretty good. I mean, this is only the first backtest, but the equity curve looks fine. We have a very small drawdown, and the profit factor is very good. The average gain is bigger than the average loss, and we have a win rate of 55%. I mean, this is unusually good to be the first backtest. It's actually so good, I almost want to edit this part out of the video and sell it. The next two ideas are only for premium users, so I will fast forward that part. What do we look for in the backtest to determine if an idea have potential? Here are the 4 metrics to look at. If any of these 4 metrics fail in this step, then we trash the idea. The first one is the look of the equity curve. Here are 6 equity curves of 6 different trading ideas, all having the same total gain of $10,000. And here's a test for you. How would you rank these equity curves from best to worst, from 1 to 6? And you should rank them on how you think the chances are that these ideas could constitute a robust trading system. I will give you 20 seconds to decide on that while I get a coffee. All right, so 2 of these ideas should be trashed right away. Here's how I would rank these equity curves. On 6th place is A, on 5th place is D, on 4th place is F, on 3rd place is E, on 2nd place is C, and on 1st place is B. And why, do you ask? Maybe you're thinking that C looks better. Well, C doesn't show any losses. The B equity curve have losses, and you can see that it makes up for those losses. In my opinion, just looking at the equity curve of C, it could very well be overly optimized. An equity curve not showing any losses is a big warning sign. Either you have over-optimized it, or you have a backtest not showing a losing period, and you want to know how the algo will perform once it gets to a losing period, because all algos do. The second metric is the drawdown compared to the total gain. You don't want too big of a max drawdown compared to the total gain of the algo. And where is that level? Well, roughly in this step, I would trash any ideas having a drawdown bigger than 50% of the total gain. The third metric is the number of trades and time in market. You want a certain number of trades to be sure that the edge has a statistical basis and is not just a temporary fluke. At this step, I would trash any idea having less than 100 trades per direction. So for an algo going both long and short, I would like to see at least 200 trades. The fourth metric is the average gain compared to the average loss. This is the effective risk and reward ratio. Some traders might say that you should never take a trade with a risk reward ratio of less than 1:2 or 1:3, meaning that you would risk $1 to potentially earn $3. And in coding terms, that means having a stop loss of 1 and a target profit of 3. But in my opinion, that's a unilateral way to think about a trade. It's a dogma from traders not having the know-how to do a backtest. One has to take into account the historic win rate of an edge when evaluating the risk-reward ratio. An edge could have a risk-reward ratio of 1:1 and still make you money, needing only a win rate higher than 50%. An edge could have a risk-reward ratio of 1:3, but only have a 10% win rate and it will lose you money. An edge could even have a negative risk-reward ratio, meaning that you have set a target profit that is actually smaller than your stop loss. It doesn't necessarily mean that the idea is bad. But at this step, what are we looking for? Well, I would keep all ideas having a risk-reward ratio of higher than 1:1. Any ideas having a ratio lower than that would have to fulfill the following two conditions. The backtest would have to show at least 200 trades, and the backtest would have to show at least 100 losses. And that's it. This video marks the end of the first step of this algo development program. In the next step, we will take any ideas that have made it and we will build a complete trading system out of it. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.